Well now, what do we have here? Ponderosa pine from Arland Sanborn, and we're going to turn it today, and it's a big one. It's 17 and a half inches at the widest point. I've got an 18-inch lathe. I'm not going to turn it the way you're seeing it. I'm going to turn it flat side up, but it is going to be a live edge bowl, even with that little bald spot. How we're going to solve that? Well, I have an idea. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as we like to say here at Shady Acres Woodshop. Howdy! Let's take a little closer look at it. As I said, this piece is about 17 and a half inches at its widest point, and about 14 and a half inches the other way. It's about 6 inches thick, and this will be the top. And my intention is to leave a border around this top edge. I don't know how much, an inch or two, maybe not that much even, I don't know. But I do have that bald spot to deal with. And what I'm going to do, I could use a woodworm screw, and I believe it would hold because I have a lot of confidence in them. But instead I'm going to put this faceplate ring here somewhere in the middle and let that hold with 4 screws. That should be quite sufficient. And then we have the bald spot. Well, how are we going to deal with that? Since I'm going to be turning away much of the bark on the bottom and up the sides, I can just take this bark off and patch our bald spot. That's what I'm going to do. So I have the faceplate ring mounted on there, and now we just need to get this up into position on the chuck. The faceplate ring has a dovetail on the inside of it, which matches the dovetail on the outside of my chuck jaws. Get a good metal to metal hold. I can tell it's way out of balance. Yeah, this is the heavy end here where the bald spot is. Now all we gotta do is get to turning. Before we get started, I have to make a correction. Earlier I said Arland Sanborn sent this, or brought it, actually he brought it to us. I think I was thinking Kentucky Fried Chicken sounded good for dinner, and I had Colonel Sanders on my mind, and I said Arland Sanborn. It's Arland Sanborn. I'm so sorry, Arland. So sorry. I hate making mistakes like that. Alright, so we're going to be turning this rather large piece at 380 RPM because it is out of balance. It's going to be very, very messy. This bark is just messy. It's just going to fly everywhere. There's going to be dust and crud, and it's going to be a pain in the neck, but we're going to get it done. I'm going to start from the top side down. I'm going to start right about here. Start peeling the bark off this way and leaving a little edge over here. I don't know how big it'll be, but when we get done, but that's where we're going to start, a couple inches down, and just work my way around here. I don't have to do a lot of shaping because, as you can see, it's already pretty round. We'll probably end up doing some for sure, and then we'll put a tenon down here and like that. So 380 RPM, 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask and face shield on. Whoa! That was a big piece of bark. Yeah, that whole side came off. Well, let's see. I see this big curvature right here that seems to want to fit there. Well, it might just all come off. I don't know. I knew that was going to be a problem. I'm just going to proceed. We'll see how it goes. We might end up with just a natural edge instead of a live edge. I really wanted to save some. It's very impressive bark, but okay. I'm gonna go sharpen up. It's always good to take advantage of a little break, like sharpening up or going to get coffee or whatever, and look the piece over while you're drinking your coffee or when you come back to the lathe. And I guess I'm just about to where I want to be, actually. It might be a little thick here, but I'm going to taper it. Can you see how this is tapered right here and over here? I plan on doing that with these edges that stick up a little bit. These just stick up because they come this way further than the rest of the piece. There and over here. I took my box of stuff, and I have a lot of pieces here of bark, and I grabbed the first piece I grabbed fits this very well, not size wise but curvature wise. Inside there it's a nice tight fit, so I'm gonna have to cut this off right about here and glue it on, and I'm gonna be using tight bond, not CA for this. I'll just feel better with this. So this is probably going to take me the rest of the day, but you don't care because I'm going to edit this and things will be zipping right along. So that's what I'm going to be working on. I'm gonna cover this up and this up, and really, other than that, the bark did not go flying anywhere else. This was already missing, so really we're just missing this. So I'll probably see you tomorrow, unless it's sooner. I'll let you know. See ya. Well, it did indeed take the rest of the day yesterday to cover up all these bald spots where the bark was missing. I've done a pretty good job, but I don't feel that it's secure enough that using a gouge to taper these down like it is here, I don't think it would withstand hitting a gouge at 300 and whatever we were, 380 RPM or whatever. At 800 RPM I'd feel pretty good about it, but such a slow speed, it's gonna catch these things and rip them right back off. So once again, I'm gonna turn to my angle grinder with a flap wheel on it, and I'm gonna grind those down at an angle like this, kind of smooth them out and blend them into the rest of the piece. Now we're not done turning, of course, but the idea is just to blend them down and not have an abrupt edge like we have here. And I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I get my mask on and a couple of fans going to blow all this crap away from me. And I've got a face mask on also, because there could be big chips coming off, I don't know. Well, that's working, and I'm glad. Got a little more to do. I think I'll do it off camera because this is probably pretty boring to watch, but I'm going to do it all the way around just to make sure I have that bevel. I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm very happy with how that turned out. It feathers down pretty dang well all the way around now. You can see an abrupt edge here and here. That's because from here to here is natural. That's never been touched by a gouge in there. So if you were looking down like I am at the tool rest, you'd see there's a big gap. It's very tight here, but there's a big gap, like like a big gap. Inch and a half. If I move my finger forward, it doesn't go anywhere. Over here, it goes clear out there. So that's all natural in there. So now I'm going to try and clean up my cuts here, get rid of some tool marks. I'm just going to try shear scraping along here and finish up the tenon, and then we'll be ready to do some real sanding. And I think when I do that, when I start using my Sandoflex on the bark, I can do away with this sharp edge. I think it'll blend in better once I start doing that. We'll find out. About 378. It wants to shake after that. So 378 RPM, 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask and face shield on. Okay, let me get over here and work on the tenon. That should be pretty close. That'll do. Time for sanding. Well, this is going to be a chore, I know that. I'm going to start the sanding with 80 grit. 80 grit on my sandal fleck. I'm going to sand all the bark. Now, I'm sure by now you've noticed this bark is real flaky. It just breaks off. And my goal is to remove all that flakiness, anything that wants to break off. So that's why I'm starting at 80 grit. Then I'll move to 120 and then 180 and then I'll stop there, I hope. I hope that gets it smooth enough to where you can handle it without unpleasantness. When I'm done with that, I'll switch to my 2-inch disc starting at 80 grit and I'll sand the piece while it's spinning, 80 through 400 grit with my 2-inch disc. And I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I get my mask on. And I'll come at it from that way, then I'll come at it from this way. And this way. Just trying to get anything loose off of there and smoothed out. And then my 2-inch disc with the piece spinning in reverse at about 330. Well, that's actually better than I thought it would be. So, but it is going to take a while because it's a big piece and lots of area to cover. So I'll bring you back in a bit and we'll put some kind of finish on there. See you in a bit. Okay, that was a chore. I'm about as tired as I've ever been. I'm applying shellac-based sanding sealer, and then I'll apply shellac over this. I'll do 2 coats of this and 2 coats of shellac. I'll be doing a lot of brushing, of course. The bark and this inclusion right here and like that. I'm going to have to be careful turning the inside of this piece because of that inclusion and because of this large depression right here. I know it doesn't show up on camera, this depression, but believe me, it's a lot lower right here than it is here or here. Well, I just don't have much to say. And probably pretty boring to watch this, turn the camera off and just finish up. I'm sorry, I can hear my own voice. Oh my God, I am tired. I'm sorry for that. I can't get excited just yet. I'm gonna be excited in the morning when I come back for more coats or turning the inside or wherever we are at that point. I don't even know. I'll show you a little bit on the bark and then I'm going to turn the camera off. Okay, you get the gist. You see what it's going to look like? It's going to be pretty nice. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Have a good evening. I have the piece turned around with the tenon mounted up in the larger jaws of my chuck. This is going to be a lot of work. This end here is about 1.5 inches higher than it is over here. So the top is not flat. I knew that when we started, but I'm just telling you. I drew a line on here to stay inside of this side right here. This is the side closest to being cut off if I come out here any further. So I'm just going to start working at this. It's going to be a lot of darn work. I might have to resort to carbide. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be a bumpy ride at 380 RPM, but we're going to give it a shot. 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask, and face shield on. Oh boy, that inclusion that I showed you on the bottom that I said I had to be aware of, it lines up with this. It must go all the way through there. Thinking if I want to clear off the top yet. I'm really scared to do it because I don't want to pull this bark off, as much work as I've done to keep it on there. But I might start doing that. I'm gonna go sharpen up. Okay, flat on the top. Now you can see I'm building up a bead around here if that's the way we want to go. Don't have to. By using a bead we reduce the size of the bowl we can put on here, but we can come out here further than I thought we could also. And I guess I haven't really gotten to here yet, have I? Okay, I'm going to go back to working on the bowl. I am going to switch to carbide for that, just because I'm getting sick of sharpening. That's inside the depression on the outside, and we're about 1/4 inch thick right here. And I don't want to come through that inclusion, so we're getting there. I'd like to get rid of the tailstock. I'm surprised how smooth that carbide's cutting. Yeah, I was afraid of that, see? Came loose in the chuck. Let me fix it. I've got it back in the chuck. I need to square this off, I guess, and reuse it with the tailstock again. I don't know why it came loose, except it's big and heavy. I don't see any damage to the tenon, but I heard damage. It sounded like it's cracked or torn away a little bit. I don't know. So I guess I'm going to have to finish up turning with tailstock in place. Luckily, we're just about to where we need to be. I'd like to go at least another 1/4 inch deep and get rid of this right at the end. I think it'll hold it. I think the tenon will hold it for sanding and finishing. I hope. Yeah, 1/2 inch. That'll work. Now if we can just keep it together and get rid of this. Whew, what a piece of work. I need to cut that off. I can't break it off or it might go below the surface, and that's no good at all. I think I'm going to switch to a smaller cutter. That big one's not letting me in there where I want to be. I think I'm also going to turn the speed down a little bit. Well, we made it. We made it. I've done some spot sanding around the outside edge and a little bit in the bowl there, getting rid of tool marks. There is some torn grain that I'm not going to take blame for. It's just because it's pine and it's soft wood and it tears out, and that's that. But I've still got a whole lot of sanding to do, which I'm going to start doing with my 2-inch sanding disc starting at 80 grit. I've already been through 2 80 grit sanding discs. Getting rid of my tool marks and some torn grain, not much. So this will be my 3rd one, nice fresh one to start. Gonna have the lathe spinning at about 340 RPM, and I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I get my mask on. That's reverse, then I'll do forward. And I'll do that for every grit up through 400 grit. Then I'm going to go ahead and just put the finish on. I'm not going to show that to you. You saw it on the outside. And I'll bring you back here in a while, probably tomorrow. We're working on tomorrow will be day 5 of this, and I'll bring you back and we'll take the tenon off. See you tomorrow. I've mounted a block of wood up in my chuck. I'm going to put a non-slip cloth over that and bring up the rather large bowl and try and hold it there while I bring up the tailstock. I still have that center hole there for reference, so I can just drive my live center into that, apply a little pressure, bring up my tool rest. Now I see where this tenon had split a little bit. That's what happened. It kind of broke right here. And that's how it got loose in the chuck. I don't think that's going to present a problem. We'll spin the piece up, see if it's running true. And it is. I'm going to grab a 3/8 inch bowl gouge and commence to removing that tenon. I want to check for clearance, and we have clearance. Now that's pretty small. I'm going to turn the speed down to about 200 RPM. I'm going to switch to a 3/8 inch swept back bowl gouge so that I can get in there closer. Now I'm going to apply the bevel of the gouge against the bottom of the piece, pressure towards the headstock, right hand on the gouge, left hand on the switch. And when the little nub stops turning or breaks, we'll know we're through. Well, it half broke. And I don't trust it. So I'm going to take it over here to the workbench. Chisel that off. It'll just take a little whack. Sand it up, sign it, get it finished, and I'll be right back. Be sure you stick around to the end of the video so you can see the before and after shots of this piece. If you'd share the video, I'd really appreciate that. Well, here it is. One Ponderosa pine bowl in the books. It's a big one, and it's beautiful. I just love that natural profile. I love that crack in the bottom there. That adds a little something special. The bark is great. The bottom's all finished up. Got that nice inclusion. This was a huge undertaking. 5 days. Took me 5 days to get this done. I was going to say it's worth it. I like the outcome, let's say that. I'm not sure it was worth it. It was a lot of work. When you're turning a piece this size, it feels like 10 times the work of say a 10-inch bowl. This bowl is 11 inches in the bowl part, and what was it, 17.5 by 14.5? 17.5 anyway, this way. This could be a sink, I suppose, but I don't make sinks. Anyway, I sure hope you liked it. Thank you, Arland Sanborn, for bringing this along for all to enjoy. If you like this video, thumbs up please. I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly. I truly appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, you might consider becoming one. I put out regular videos about one a week, and I'd like to keep in touch. An easy way to subscribe is just click my picture you see there near the end of the video. Your comments are always welcome, and I love reading them. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.